What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we are going to be working on obviously the S13 because it's still not done yet. But like I mentioned before, this car is very close. We have a lot of little things to take care of, and at this point of the build sometimes I find it a little overwhelming because there's so many little things. So I try to give myself some motivation by putting on pieces that kind of excite me. And for example, I put on this carbon fiber intake pipe with the air filter to give me, a vision of the car looking more, or the motor looking more complete. And like I mentioned in previous videos, for the valve cover, I don't know what valve cover, or I didn't know what valve cover I wanted to run yet. But I think I've decided. I have this S13.4 valve cover that I got probably like 10 years ago. And if you don't know much about this, it is basically an S14 or a notch top valve cover where you splice it with the front of an S13 cover. So if you look over here, S13 cover, there's no notch at the back, and there is no VCT at the front, no notch here or hump here. So obviously you can't put an S14 cover on this engine without cutting off the front of the S13 and splicing it onto S14. But anyways, I'm gonna get more into detail about the cover. This video, hopefully we can strip this cover, because don't ask me about the blue. I got this valve cover probably over 10 years ago, and I was trying to go for like a Tomei blue, but it was more of a Temu blue. So we are going to get this stripped, hopefully with the vapor honing cabinet. I am going to have to switch out the media, but yeah, I am going to move the cars out of the way so I have access to the cabinet, and we'll jump right into this valve cover. So I got the RX-7 moved out of the way, I got the S14 pushed over to the side, and I also laid out some valve covers here. Let me unplug the fan for now. Yeah, so basically, to go into more detail, this is an S13.4 hybrid valve cover, which is essentially taking an S13 valve cover and an S14 or 15 valve cover and combining the two so that it fits onto an S13 SR. So you can see here, it has the notch top of the S14, S15 valve cover, but it doesn't have the VCT hump here because this is using the essentially front part of the S13 valve cover. And the reason why people do this is basically, S14 and 15 valve covers have better baffling inside compared to the old S13 ones. So if you look here, it's just the design of the baffling is better. Typically, S13s, you will get quite a bit of blow-by or oil vapor coming out because this little breather right here is essentially open right here, whereas if you look at the S14 or S15 one, this is fully closed here, so oil doesn't just splash up from the cams and come out of the breather like it does on the S13. So that's like the main reason why people do this hybrid valve cover, is so that you get the better baffling of the 14-15 cover, but you're able to run it on your S13. So this cover that I bought this already made, probably Actually, it was probably like 15 years ago. Unfortunately, it didn't come with any baffling. So I ended up making this baffling myself, and I had someone weld it in. But I mean, I guess it looks okay, but I'm not sure. I might want to remake this baffling, and I might want to actually have it bolt in. So maybe I'll drill and tap the mounting points in here with the new baffles if I make them. And because this is pretty permanent. Like so essentially I'm going to throw this in the vapor honing cabinet, and there's not going to be a way to clean out the baffles unless I remove them. So at that point, I might as well possibly make new ones or make them removable by drilling and tapping. So factory is not removable either. You have to drill out their like factory rivets. So that's something I want to do on this one. And yeah, I don't like the blue. It's not great. Yeah, hopefully I will be able to strip this blue off. It is powder coat, and it is very thick powder coat. So I am going to have to switch out the media in the vapor honing cabinet to this one here, which is aluminum oxide, and hopefully that will make it a lot easier to strip. But I don't know if it'll actually strip it well enough, because this powder coating, like I said, is super thick. And also another thing about this valve cover, when I bought it, it had a lot of pinholes. Like, I don't know what was up with the person who made it. I mean, I know cast aluminum is dirty and it's hard to weld, but I know when I got it, there was actually like filler or Bondo in there. So I want to strip this down and see what we're actually working with. Maybe it's not that bad. And yeah, I don't know what color or what kind of design I plan to do. But we'll get this stripped first. That's the first step, and we'll see if it even comes off easily in the vapor honing cabinet, or if I'm gonna have to get it sandblasted, which I do have a sandblaster in that corner. I just don't like using the sandblaster. It's dirty, and yeah. But yeah, let's get the media switched out on the vapor honing cabinet, because right now what's in there is glass bead, and if you see, this is like super fine stuff that will not even do a dent on that powder coating. So yeah, let's get this drained out. Just open this. Okay, the water's already out from there, and open this bottom one. We'll let that drain out majority of the water, and then we will drain the media out from this bottom one here. So yeah, let's jump into that. guys what I was doing. The glass bead slurry drains out, and obviously this bin is not big enough, so I start scooping the water out in a way that the media kind of settles to the bottom, so the water is just at the top, so you can scoop it out gently so it doesn't kick everything up, and then you can get the water out. So we have our aluminum oxide media there, and pretty much in here is empty. There's a little bit of aluminum oxide still in here because I do mix in a little bit with the glass bead just for better cleaning or cutting abilities. So now we just have to put this in the cabinet, fill it with water, and we'll start trying to strip this blue off this valve cover. So let's do it. I managed to weld up the cover a little bit, try to fill in more of the pinholes that were there, but I don't know. Cast aluminum is hard to weld, especially when it's a old part that's probably got oil saturated into it and all that. I think it's good enough. It's not great. I'm not really happy with it, but it is what it is. This is what I have for now, so I might as well try to use it. But yeah, now we are going to make new baffles for this, because like I mentioned before, that is the advantage of the S14 or 15 valve cover over over S13.1. So we are going to make baffles for this, and hopefully I'll be able to drill these out and tap them so that they are removable in the future. And yeah, let's make up some templates and hopefully we'll get baffles that fit pretty good. Okay, so these are the previous baffles that I had in there that I had someone essentially weld in. They're not great. I made them a long time ago in my garage at home, which is interesting because I have no idea how I even made this. Maybe I just kept cutting and fitting and cutting and fitting and then eventually got it close enough, but they didn't fit great. I could try to bang these out and get a template off that, but I think it'll be easier if I just make it new from scratch with something like this. Nowadays we have nice tools like this where we can get this in here to give us an idea of the contour that we need, and I'll trace it out on the template and it should get us pretty close. So let's try to make this template and hopefully we'll have something that fits very good. So managed to make up some templates, and you can see here that they fit in pretty nicely. So all we have to do is cut this out of some aluminum, drill some holes, tap them, and we should be good for the baffling. And then we can move on to figuring out how we want to finish this valve cover. So let's jump to that. So we've got the new baffles made and installed. Essentially, I didn't do this one. It was too close to the edge. My hole was off, so I didn't bother with that. But there's 5 bolts holding this one in and 4 holding this one in. So I think that should be good. I do also think maybe on final install, I'll probably do some gasket around here, kind of like how it is from OEM, which is like this one. So you can see OEM, it's factory like riveted in, but still gasketed in. So I might do that on final install, but for the time being right now, I think we're okay. We're just test fitting and mocking up. And now we can move on to the valve cover. So obviously the blue is gone. We've got it bare, and I welded it up as best I could, but cast, and I'm pretty sure this had Bondo in it before. So when I was welding it, it was all coming up and burning off like real crazy. Yeah, for the time being, we are going to put a design into this, and then we are going to paint it eventually. But yeah, so let's get this grinded, and I will show you the results of that. And there we have it. The valve cover is grinded, or it's got that grinded look, as you can see. I think it helps hide some of the imperfections, hopefully, of the 2 valve covers welded together. Yeah, at this point, I don't know if I'm set on how this looks. The nice thing is that you can change it up pretty much by going over it again with one of those wheels and just making a new design. So yeah, I don't know if I'm set on this yet, but for the time being, I need to choose a color to paint it. Something probably like a candy clear so that you can see the grind marks show through. This is very similar to like the Ashio factory style valve covers. But yeah, just something I wanted to try. And that's going to be it for this video. If you have an idea for color, put it down in the comments below. I was thinking maybe green because I like green, but I don't know. Look at this engine bay. Majority of the stuff is pretty neutral. I ended up switching this cap to a Greddy. carbon fiber intake pipe. Yeah, so everything's pretty neutral, which it might work out if I do something like green. It might be a nice focal point in the engine bay since everything's so neutral, but I don't know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you click the like button, and if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you click subscribe because I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. And yeah, let me know what color I should paint this valve cover, and I will see you guys in the next one where hopefully we'll be painting this valve cover. So see you guys in the next one.